What a way to to end a year and start a new year, right? Is we get to a point. All of us here are adults, right? There's no teenager here, I guess. For most of us, when we get to December, we're thinking about, hey, what's coming up next year, right? And so I want to appreciate all of you who are here today, right? Yes, so people are very generous, crossbar. Yeah. Okay, for all those who are here today for this orientation, you are welcome. Please stay tuned and ask questions. We are here to help you answer questions. And yeah, so by the way, my name is Elvis. My student calls me Prof. Elvis, so Prof. Prince. I'm the privileged God servant. Uh, yeah, I'm like the shepherd of this organization, LIONTECH Solutions Canada, and yeah, so I'm the CEO and the co-founder of this organization, and it's a privilege to have you all, join us here today. And most of you have taken the step that I took, 6, 7 years ago. I was attended, an orientation seminar like this, and my perspective changed. And it didn't just change because I attended, it changed because, I gave it a try. Like, I took a step forward. Uh, I attended, you know, a training, and thereafter, I saw the opportunities, that this kind of programs can offer, especially to graduates, right? To graduate. Unfortunately for us, some of us coming, unfortunately for some of us, our academic formation is not practical. For some of us who have even gotten to have master's degree, right? Is in most cases, is theoretical, except for very few programs that have, some very practical aspect of it, right? So, but IT is one of such programs that anyone from any background can transition into it without having any issues. And personally, I come from IT, I come from business, right? And even at the moment, I am studying business administration at Lake Hay University. I'm doing my master's program there, right? With focus in the, human resource management and operations, right? So, yeah, I put on a lot of caps, but I work mostly in tech. I call myself a techpreneur, yeah, because I so much love tech. And my goal you know, is to educate my generation that, what, irrespective of your original formation, you can transition and succeed in tech. And so, uh, having worked in tech for like 6 years, I began LionTech in 2018. Yeah, and then grew up, eventually launched in 2022. And yeah, so we coach, okay, we mentor, students in the field of software development operations, cloud computing, cybersecurity, DevSecOps, and of recent we just added artificial intelligence. And the reason why we added AI is because even right now in the working environment, right, organizations are subscribing, you know, uh, the business AI subscriptions for all their employees, right? They want their employees to be able to use AI to perform certain tasks. And so even in business school, you have, this school of thought, right? People who believe, are scared or reviews that AI is going to take their jobs. No, AI is not going to take anybody's job. What AI does is that is going to, so it's going to drive efficiency, right? So it's going to improve, if that's the right word, right? So it's going to improve efficiency of employees. So what that means is that maybe, a project that would have required 5 engineers, okay, to do, right? So engineers are still going to be hired, but maybe, just maybe, instead of 5, right, they may not go for maybe 3. And I'll quote a very simple example, right? I think uh, the senior students here can test for this, right? Now look at something like code review, right? Code review, for example. Okay. In most software development teams, code review is done by senior engineers. And it's often a process that consumes a lot of time because so you find what you find, feedback, right? Feedback moving back and forth, right? And all of that. So most companies today are what? Are using a Copilot. They want to in fact, if you go on GitHub, right, you're going to see Copilot there, right? How many of you have seen Copilot on GitHub? Copilot, right? How many of you have seen or any AI agent on GitHub? How many of you have seen that? Yeah? No. How many of you have seen, not guessed? I'm asking, how many of you have seen that? Okay, first time hearing this. Okay, great. But okay, okay, yeah, see that. So of course, so Godwin have seen that, right? So now that is the purpose of that, right? So that is going to take, so that particular process of code review is what, it's definitely going to be taken over by artificial intelligence, right? Because what that is a specific task, it's a specific process, and the pro requires steps and procedures, and of course, what artificial intelligence is going to what can easily handle that specific task. So this is this is how AI is going to be implemented, always been implemented in what in be it in cybersecurity, DevSecOps, cloud computing, and all of that. Just last week, not last week, last month, when AWS suffered, I think they experienced 2 downtime where the platform was down. Okay, so if you are new in this, right? AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. Okay, it's a cloud platform. Okay, so it experienced 2 downtime last month. I think either late last month or early last month, or sometime late no late October. In that time frame. Right. Because if you discover right now, discover that if you go to create a ticket, a support ticket now on AWS, right, you no longer talk with live agents. How many of you have noticed that the last 2 weeks, right? Previously, you create a support ticket and you have a live agent. Somebody say, hey, you know what? My name is Godwin and I'm so happy to assist you. Now it's artificial intelligence. It's just so crazy, right? Like, just crazy. Okay. So, this is why there is nothing that you can study in tech in 2025 and 2026 that you won't, consider AI integration. And that's the reason why, for those of you, many of you who are going to be getting into tech in 2026, you are super advantaged, right? You're what? You are so advantaged. Why is that? You're advantaged because now, of course, what? Now you have, an agent. You have, an assistant lecturer. It's for AI, right? That can assist you with a lot of things. Now, let me ask you guys a question. So, and of course, right? So, ChatGPT also can do quite a lot of things. Like, by the way, ChatGPT have different versions. Okay, so if you are using the free version, you won't see much of. In fact, you won't even see up to 10% of what ChatGPT can do, right? But if you upgrade to like, the paid version, the business version, my goodness, right? That's what that's when you're going to appreciate the power, okay, the usefulness of artificial intelligence. And that is what companies are giving their development team. So why would a company decide to say, hey, you know what, DevOps team, this is your subscription, right? And I'll tell you, it makes a lot of sense. Now, before artificial intelligence, right? How many of you know about, Stack Overflow, right? Stack Overflow, okay? So this what there used to be Stack Overflow, where companies, right, would buy subscription for their tech teams. Okay, so let's say I'm working on a ticket, right? I'm stuck. I'll go to Stack Overflow, right? And I'm going to what, input a ticket there and search for answers, right? So companies have always been what? Been looking for ways to improve the efficiency and the productivity of the employees. And so there are several platforms, even Disco, right? How many of you know of Disco, right? So you have you have Disco, you have Stack Overflow. No, I'm not talking about AI. I'm talking about before AI, right? What was already existing for tech companies, right? See what Geek for geeks. See that? So there were already platforms that were being used for troubleshooting because the fact is that every day in the tech, every ticket, right, at work, in the life of a DevOps engineer, cyber security professional, or a DevSecOps one, every ticket is a learning opportunity, right? You are going to look at what you've learned. You have to go out to read, right? To study, to ask questions. So they've always been googling, right? Like googling or watching YouTube videos for what? For solutions. Okay. For solutions. So if you work in a company today that's that wants to give you artificial intelligence as your co-assistant, believe me, you're what? You are so opportune. And there are so many of them. And I can tell you that for default, by default, you are going to have it because most companies use, either what Google or Microsoft as what, for their what again, you know, mails, okay, file management system and all of that. And so if you go with Google, you have what? Automatically you have Google what? Google Gemini, right? Which is there, bam, integrated. And if the company goes with Microsoft, they have what? You have Copilot, right? So it's like, I think the only company that I haven't seen their own AI, oh no, but they have launched it, is Amazon. Amazon have launched something, but I haven't seen it just yet. But almost all major companies are launching their own version of what? Of OpenAI, of ChatGPT. So it's very, very important. So this is why so irrespective of your status here today, be it you are new or you are existing in tech, right? The Amazon Care, right? So that's also been launched. So this makes learning super super interesting. What this means is that if you're looking at a career in cloud computing, right, now it's going to be super easy because it looks like okay, you have these super agents that have now been groomed based on what? Based on the experiences of the actual human agents for the last 10 years. That's a lot of data that is being used to train this agent. So there is no ticket that you upload, okay, that will sound super strange, okay, to these agents. No, right? they are being trained on data like that. And you can see even WhatsApp has its own, artificial intelligence now. And I think, it just, I think even Telegram might be working on its own version as well, right? Because, data. Okay. So that's why you see, okay, AI is being integrated in this because it's so, so important. You cannot avoid it, and it is super, super justified. Okay.